Welcome to Long Arm Wednesday. This is Laura Lynn of the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Thank you very much for joining us. We are working on a quilt of Valour today. I haven't done one since, I think I did 2 at the beginning of the year, and I want to try and at least get 1 or 2 done every month. And since we were approaching, very last day of this month was like yesterday, I wanted to make sure I got at least 1 more in, and then I'm going to get another one in for March. So I've quilted it up to more than 3/4. It really just has this one little row to do, and then the borders. And I said every time that I got a quilt of Valour that had a border on it that was specifically designed as a border, I was going to quilt it out separately than it was for the body, because it just makes that extra pizzazz, you know what I mean? Okay, so I have a Scratch Modern edge to edge going here right now, and I've just set it up because the rows are very square. I love this quilt actually. One of our volunteers, Elizabeth, her name was pinned to this, so thank you, Elizabeth, for doing this one. It's very lovely. See, so I just clicked out each row and set that scratch pattern of edge to edge in each row, because I wanted to make sure it was exactly the same on each single one. I don't know why, I just wanted to. So when I have this machine, I might as well make it work for me the best I know how, right? So I have set this row out, I've clicked it all the way around, all the way to, I think it was 120 something little clicks. So, and we will just quick start. It's gonna work on its second square now, and it has, I think, 6 more to go. Yeah, 6 more to go. It's eight blocks. So I think this is like a 4-patch border or something like that, but it's very cute. It's a great way to use up scraps. I'm sure these are 2.5. This is probably like at least a 3. So done, easy peasy. You could totally scrap bust like crazy. I like it that she also has it so each, like she's only got 2 frames. She's got a brown frame and a blue frame, and that's it. I mean, but you could totally do this crazy, like even like a rainbow section from one corner to the other with your blocks and your borders and everything else like that. To me, that's what I saw when I was first quilting it out. I'm like, ooh. And I've been scrap busting like crazy this week at the quilt shop. I had a really big bucket overflowing underneath the long arm, and every time I moved fabric, it would like spill out a little bit. I'm like, okay, you gotta deal with this, Laura Lynn, or it's just gonna invade you. So it took me far longer than I anticipated, but I just kept plugging at it. I didn't get discouraged. Took tea breaks, played with the dog, talked to the hubby, and just plugged away at it. And I got that whole bin dealt with in about 6 hours. I know it seems like, oh my gosh, 6 hours, but it was so worth it. Like, I didn't even realize I have, just from that bin itself that I was just using for scraps and whatever, I could probably make 4 quilts. I know, it wouldn't be the prettiest looking quilts because of the color combination in there, but it would be definitely 4 quilts. So, and when I didn't have enough for do a small strip, or like if I had a big piece, I try to get as big a square out of that as possible, whether it be an 8 or a 10 or a 6, whatever you want to kind of work with. And then whatever's left over from that 6-inch square, you make a little 2.5 or something like that. So I literally, this bucket right here, I think I got some chocolates in it at Christmas a time or so, I'm not sure. But I've just been filling it with my 2.5s. And that's just all sorts of projects. Look at this little pink camel, you know, all sorts of whatever. I can't wait to make something with it. Like what I thought was a daunting task at first has now encouraged me to make something. Like, and here's my bucket of the 3-inch squares. So you just keep at it. Get a couple of buckets going and sort it out. And anything that was bigger, like a chunk like this, I just folded and put off to the side and put in that color collection. Like I've got purples and oranges back here. So I've worked on 2 buckets so far, the big one, the big massive scrap one, and then of course my purple and orange bucket. And then I've got my pink and my red one started this morning, so. And slowly, I will get at it. I literally had a big wall unit shoved with buckets full of colors, and I don't want that anymore. I want it a little bit more organized, a little bit more easy to pop a quilt together really fast. If neighbors are having babies left, right, and center, want to make sure, I'm a giver. I like to give things, so I just want to make sure I can just boop, 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 and done. Done. It's done. And use up my scraps that I was going to toss away. And I actually ended up giving away like 4 or 5 little grocery garbage bags full of the stuff it's like, okay, I'm done. I'm cutting this. I need to move on to my little buddy, and she was quite happy to get it. So, and she'll make something neat. And it's a great way if you don't want to put any extra money out to making quilts of Valour for our people who serve our country, then that's a great way to use your scraps. Put a scrap quilt together. They're not going to care. The fact that you thought of them to begin with is like awesome. Yeah, she kept within the same kind of patterns and colors within the quilt, which is, it's lovely. I really, really like it. It turned out very nice. And then with this pattern on the back with the blue, it's totally different than the front, and that's what I wanted. It was going to complement the squares, but also add a totally different feel to the quilt via the backwise. I always say they should be pieces of art, so. The front's an art, the back's a piece of art too. Almost there. So I'm going to free motion the border here. Nothing very fancy. I was just going to do L's and E's and L's and E's. Just kind of keep it a little flowy. A little bit different than the center. It's almost there. Yeah, I got to get some batting for my next, actually I think this is the last of the ones that were given to me. I have two to put together still, a green one and a purple one for the Quilts of Valour. Other than that, I need to get some batting. So I have no batting for them. I'll have to see whether I can get some donation from the guild or something like that to help out. Or if you're interested in making any Quilts of Valour and don't have a guild in your area, just either contact a local one or talk to me. We can work together. Oh no. Yeah. So, we got this. One and a half to go. I like this the scratch pattern. I haven't used it before until this quilt. And I was actually going to stretch it out between the two. And it just was too much of a space in between where the little ziggy-zag little edges are. So that's why I put it to each row. And it's pretty much an average of one of the little edge-to-edge patterns in each block. That's how I kind of tweaked it to fit this row. And that's why it was easy to play with by doing each row, just in case one was a little longer, one was a little shorter, you know, twists, all that sort of fun stuff that happens in quilts. This one was pretty bang on, actually, bang on square. Oh, and the thread is Superior thread, so fine. It's color 409, whatever color 409 is. I don't like the fact that they don't print it on there, but that's just my own pet peeve. I do like the color. It's a bluey gray. It was chosen for this quilt by the lady I do get my quilt tops from to get them quilted up. She's my contact for my Quilts of Valour. Her name's Judy McLeod. She's of the Dufferin County Quilts of Valour. We are at the end of the row. Perfect. Okay, now we're just gonna add a couple little single stitches there. Okay, sorry, get my fat fingers out of the way. Okay, so now I just want to take it off its belts right here. Where's the center? There we go. That was that one, and then reaching over for this one. There we go, and it's that easy. It's off the belts. I leave the locking mechanisms over here, at least for the bottom one. I try to leave it over here so when I'm moving my long arm back and forth, it's not in the center. And then same with the little one. It's just as long as you keep it close to the edge, it's not going to flip and flap in the back there. So, oh, and I want to roll this just a smidge so I can get to the bottom edge here. Okay. Okay, that should be enough for me to get to it. Yep, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to start off on this side. And what I did is I marked with my ruler. I use my ruler here. Oh, and my chalk, my little chalk pencil. And I just went to where the seams are. Like I'll show you here. There's a seam right here that comes down from where these squares start, like right here. And I just made a mark. And then I went over, and it's, I know it's a bit bigger, but I made a mark. And then I went over to this one and went and made a mark. So that just kind of gives me a guideline how I want my E's and my L's to go. I know some are going to be a little bit more spaced other than the others, but if you keep it consistent all the way around the quilt, it's going to look perfect, okay? So just don't make it too complicated. You can add a really nice texture with just some E's and some L's, okay? So I did mark up the side a little bit, but I'm just going to work on the one row here, and then we'll call it a long arm Wednesday. So I was trying to decide, do I want the L's towards me and the E's, or do I want to go the other way, like towards the end? I think I was going to go towards me, just to make sure it's easier, and I don't want to make any flub ups. So I'll start down here at the very edge. To put some locking stitches, I need to make sure I've clicked OK to the end of the sequence of the stitch pattern, and I want to go into regulated mode. I'll put it to 12 stitches per inch. And we will rock and roll. I just want to make sure I could see my chalk line. That one was a little faded. Okay, so I'm going to do nice big L, and then an E, and then an L, and then an E. And I'm just going to add those chalk marks. L and E. There we go. Super easy. Adds that little extra flair. Hopefully I'm not going too fast. And the thread really blends. I find it really blends on this background, on this border in the background, like in the backing part of it. Rawr. And if you find that maybe this stitching isn't enough, then maybe you can maybe do it the other way. You know, it's totally up to you. There we go. And that's super easy. Puts a little, tacks all the border down and keeps it all intact, and then adds a bit of a pattern on the other side. So. And that's what we'll call Long Arm Wednesday. So thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it here. Thanks for liking and subscribing. We big ol' hearts and hugs to you. Really, really, really appreciate it. And if you have any questions or suggestions or want to see something, just let us know. We're all ears here at the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop. Thank you very much. Take care, everybody. Bye.